walking in this morning, we are so kind of alive in spirit that it's an awful job to keep quiet, isn't it? So God gives me the honor of being able to go on talking, and you've got to be quiet. Let's just bow our hearts in prayer. Oh, Father, we thank you and thank you and thank you and praise you and praise you and praise you and love you and love you and love you. And we are so glad that even though it hasn't reached the depth nor the height that it will, yet you are so loving to take it at the level it is and to do something big and mighty with it. And we look at it afterwards, after you've handled it and done something with it, and we stand amazed at what you did with what really was a little seed of thine own perfect love. Oh, Father, you are so wonderful. And somehow I feel as though, because of all the thousands of people who never say thank you to you, we say it doubly, trebly for them, because they don't know, they do not see, they do not hear. Oh, Father, what a loss is theirs when we revel and rejoice in what we've gained by coming into thy kingdom. And somehow the Christ compassion wells up in us. And again we hear him crying out, oh, my world, how I would gather you as a hen would her chicks. Why won't you come? Why won't you come? And in that calling there is no criticism. There is no judgment. In that calling there's only love, the divine invitation to the wedding feast. Oh, Father, may our ministry out as we go from here, out in the world, into business, into church, into the schools, wherever we go, may our lives be an invitation that the world will want to come to the wedding feast which you and us are offering. Oh, Father, let us be faithful stewards. Let us never see all that is bad, but all that is good, and uphold it, which comes out of being deeply concerned over that which is not good. We may be deeply concerned, but let us not keep our eyes on that, but on that which we can offer and give in Christ's name. And we ask it in his precious name. Amen. I got talking over the breakfast table, and I was really going back at about 8 o'clock to be neatly and wisely prepared. And I got talking to somebody until 10 minutes to 9. And then all the advice that I gave you about not hurrying fell away and I ran. Now you see how quickly we trip up. And then I had to have dear Harold Humphrey say to me at the door, don't hurry. And the Lord spoke back my own words to pull me up through him. Isn't that marvelous? I got here on time anyhow. I would have anyhow, because I had a few minutes to sit. I even stopped and had my picture taken by that Billy. Anyway, now we're just going to have these few beautiful verses out of the book. Oh, and it is such a beautiful book, isn't it? The book of Revelation. I don't know why I suddenly feel I must tell you a funny little story about that. We had a man in our meeting in Cape Town who was very uneducated, but a beautiful soul. But he dropped his H's, and he put G's where he shouldn't. It was a peculiar way of talking. Now, we had a few worldly celebrities in the meeting, and they used to rather laugh at his way of talking. Now, I understood that dear man, but he thought he'd give me the dig. So one night I said, I will read from Revelations. And he came up to me after the meeting. He says, it's the book of Revelation. It ain't Revelations. And I said, oh, thank you, George. Oh, I am glad. I might have made that mistake another time. But you see, I was glad. I had made a mistake. But he was giving me a little dig. He'd pay me back for all the people who've been saying to him. But the marvelous part about all this is that when a dear man like that has been hurt a little bit, God will send him to someone who he trusts might react just a little better, and so get him busy, not criticizing either. Isn't he a wonderful father? Oh, he's just so wonderful. So we're going to take these beautiful few verses out of the book of Revelation. Verse 7 of chapter 2. He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. To him that overcometh, not to him who has overcome. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? To him that overcometh will I give to eat of the tree of life, which is in the midst of the paradise of God. You know, if you think of it, you could just almost cry for the joy of it, couldn't you? He's going to give us to eat permanently of the tree of life, which is in the midst of the paradise of God, if you overcome. I'm just going to read all these overcomings this morning. 26th verse of the 2nd chapter. And he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations. Imagine. Do you know, friends, if you and I believed that fully right now, we would welcome everything that happens to us this coming week that causes us to have to overcome. Because it is to him who overcometh will I give power over the nations. And you know, when the Spirit of the Lord is in you, and although you're not president and you're not a senator and all that sort of thing, do you know you've got more power than any of them have got if they haven't got this spirit of overcoming? And do you know that makes you right now where you sit and where I stand to have rulership over the nations? Because they can do what they like, they can make what laws they like, they can enforce them, and here you are, a citizen of the kingdom of heaven in the middle of this world, and you've got all power because Jesus Christ has all power. And you might never have a chance to get up and say a word, but you stand in the might of his power, filled with his Spirit, and perhaps you don't say a word. And it goes out, and it goes out, and it goes out, and it works on people. They don't know what it is. I expect they wish they did. But it works on them, whether they know it or not, and whether they find out where it comes from or not. This is the power. This is something God has given us that no man in this world knows about. Only those whose kingdom is not of this earth. And I take it that most of us have tasted this week of the kingdom that is not of this earth. And now it is this wonderful joy walking out into a world that knows him not. He says, he came and they didn't know him. And then he says, and they know me not. And they won't know you then, will they? So you stride through and you walk through, and you're in a kingdom they know not of, doing things without sweating and toiling, yet doing them. Doing them with a calm and with a peace that no man of this world knows anything about. So by your example, you become the power, and you become the ruler, and you have power over the nations. Right now, I feel as if I could wipe out every scrap of hatred there is in the world. I don't know what it is. I can't hold myself. If I fall over there in a minute, don't pick me up, because that'll be the Spirit. I just feel like this. I feel as though this whole world right now doesn't know it, but is being surrounded, enveloped, infilled with love. And of course, they won't know what it is. They won't know what's happening to them. You ought to try to do that to people that you'd love to go and preach to who tell you to shut up. But don't preach to them outwardly. Preach from your soul with love and get at them anyhow. That is the best way. That's by far the best way. That which ye have already hold fast till I come. Now, what does that mean? He's going to come in about an hour's time with something for you to do. He's going to come perhaps in a few moments for something for you to think. So hold fast that which you have already. Hold fast till he comes. Otherwise, you've got to turn around and say, oh dear, I don't have any oil in my lamp. Can anybody give me some oil to put in my lamp? And they'll say, oh, we'd love to, but we just can't give it. We need our oil. Everybody needs to have their lamps filled. So don't depend on someone else being able to prop you up with wisdom when the time comes. Hold fast to that which you have now, until he comes. Oh, I just love that. And then he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end of what? The end of every experience. You see, if you think about it, I've got to hold on till Jesus comes. He might not return till I'm 90. It might not come even then. And you get thinking like that, well, you're getting out of the picture anyhow when you're thinking that. But if you would just say to yourself, until he comes, and it's now, oh, I just love that. Until he comes, and that's now. And until he comes, and it's now. Until he comes, and it's now. You're with him all the time. All the time. I just love to feel that he's always coming, and I receive him. And then somehow the picture's reversed, and he says, come unto me. And then I say, Lord, come unto me. Well, I don't know where you could go, because you're always together. So I suppose you wouldn't say come anymore, would you? You say, behold, thou art here. Behold, Lord, thou art here. Yes, behold, Lord, thou art here. Here. If you get into any difficult situation, friends, stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Stand still right in the middle. Don't attempt to move. And then watch. And he'll say, I'm coming. And you say, lo, Lord, you are here. He say, lo, I am here. And this is the walking with Jesus, hand in hand. Every experience is to the end of the experience that you must hold on to until the end of this experience. And don't worry, when that one's finished, you're going to get another. And then hold on again till that one ends. And at last, you know what it feels like? No breaking off, no beginning, just one long eternal day. And every experience that comes is like every day is but one pulse beat in eternal day. What an awful lot of fuss some people make about one pulse beat. It's just one pulse beat of eternal day. Eternal day. Have you ever tried to grasp it? Eternal day. And we halt by the way to worry over one pulse beat. No, there's only one day. There's only one way. If you've ever been lost in contemplation, meditation on the Lord, you'll know there's no time. No time. No time whatsoever. There's no space. No space whatsoever. God fills all space. He's in all space. Therefore, he's in you, in every space of you, if you know it, if you believe it. If you're not aware of it, you lose the joy. That's the sad part about it. Now he that overcometh, the same shall be clothed in white raiment, pure white raiment. And I will not blot out his name out of the book of life. You know, whenever I see that word blot, I think about my mother. I always used to love to make her think I didn't understand when she was correcting me, you know. It's so nice to appear ignorant. And she would say, you know, when you do things like this, these naughty things you do, and by the way, in this generation, people wouldn't think it anything but fun, but they thought it downright hellish and wicked when I was a child. But she'd say, now, if you go on doing things like this, do you realize that that sin is black? Well, I had a vivid imagination, and I think black. I got a big black spot on me. And then she'd say, but if you ask Jesus to wipe it out, he sends down a sort of big white sheet of blotting paper. And he just blots it out. So every time I did wrong, I used to think of a big sheet of blotting paper coming down and blotting it out. You know, like blotting paper takes up the ink. I think it was a pretty good picture. But I'm afraid my blotting paper got black all over most times. Now he says, I will not blot out his name out of the book of life. Oh, isn't it wonderful? But I will confess his name before my Father and before his angels. Jesus Christ is going to confess your name and mine before the Father and all his angels. Why, you know, that's terrific, isn't it? If you overcome. If you overcome. I will confess his name before my Father and before his angels. Now he that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. Are these words to us, friends, or are they something that is inviting us to welcome those things we're going to overcome? That's all it is. The reward, well, somehow or other, the reward is in itself, in the very doing. The reward is there. Once I remember wondering what it meant. Behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me. It was when I was quite an early Christian, and I remember saying, well, Lord, I don't want any reward. How ignorant we can be. I don't want any reward. Lord, everything I do for you is all right. I don't want a reward. Behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me. What do you really mean? What do you really mean? And then I remember sitting a little while, and as if he said, well, now, how often do you get away from me? Oh, I said, pretty often. And then he said, well, now, the moment your thoughts turn back to me, am I slow in coming? No, you come quickly. Well, what is your reward? Oh, restored peace, restored harmony, restored joy. I come and my joy is with me. So as he returns, this is the reward. Do you know of any greater reward? That the Spirit of Christ should come to you as that reward. To me, that is absolutely beautiful. 12th verse of the 3rd chapter. To him that overcometh will I make a pillar in the temple of my God. This is what I long for, a pillar, immovable. And he shall go out no more. Oh, wouldn't that be wonderful? Never make a mistake again. Never trip up by the way again. Never. But a pillar in the temple of my God. Oh, I think that's beautiful. And he shall go no more out. And I will write upon him the name of my God. That's I am. That I am. And the name of the city of my God, which is the New Jerusalem, which cometh down out of heaven from God, and I will write upon him my new name. Oh, isn't that wonderful? Isn't that wonderful? And when his Holy Spirit filled some of us, as it did, don't you see, already he was writing upon us his new name. It was marked in our foreheads. It was marked. The light came out in our eyes. But finally it's going to be done, of course, in a great, glorious way. But each time we receive his Spirit, he confesses us before the Father, and he writes upon us a new name. A new name. Who am I Not Gertrude Dekoch Keehn. Who am I? Child of God, offspring of the Most High. I don't know what name he will give me, but I know that if it's anything to do with him, it'll be a beautiful name. A beautiful name. My mother once enlightened me about names. If there was a name in this world I detested, it was Gertrude. Absolutely detested it. Couldn't bear it. It goes up into Gertie, Gert. It goes into all sorts of funny things. And I couldn't stand that name. And one day I asked her why she had called me Gertrude. And she said, I named you after a good woman. And for me, that was the worst reason she could have ever given me. The very worst reason that she ever could have given me. To be named after a good woman, to have to live up to that. But I never saw a picture of that good woman. I never did. Until about 4 years ago, when my father had passed away a little while after that, and I was home with him just a little while, and we were looking through the old family album. Ancient old thing, they did look queer. But he opened a page and he said, by the way, this is the woman that you were named after. And I was already prepared to couldn't stand it. And as I looked at it and looked at it, why, I truly was looking at Jesus. Those beautiful eyes. That sweet, sweet, wrinkled old face. And I looked at it, and I looked at it, and I said, Dad, you mean Mommy wanted me to be like her? That meant she wanted me to be like Jesus, because look at her face. Look at her face. I wonder why Mother never showed me a picture. You know what my old dad said? Perhaps she didn't want you to see her face. She perhaps wanted you to find Jesus, so that one day you'd see him in her face. So there you are. You see, all those years I couldn't stand my name. I still don't like the name. But I tell you what I realized. I realized what I told you the other night, that the name of Jesus is one of the commonest names in the East that you could ever hear. And in San Antonio, everywhere you see Jesus, the Mexicans are named. And I realized that my Lord took a name that everybody'd heard everywhere in the East. It was an ordinary name. And he was going to make it a name above every name. A name above every name. So that someday every knee should bow before that name. Every knee should bow. And I suddenly thought, well, if the Christ life in me could ever permeate that name, you see, instead of saying, as they would have done before I found the Lord, oh, that Gertrude. No, it might be, I'm glad I've met Gertrude. And that is because Christ is now in the name. In the name. And I'm sure that that is the best way to look at things, to try to find the inner something that makes that name a beautiful name. It's like a very deformed person or a very plain-looking person. When Christ comes into them, it's amazing. They are more beautiful than a handsome person. They are much more beautiful because there is spirit shining through. They are somehow different. And the glow of the eyes when the soul is shining, when the spirit is so filling the soul that the soul becomes the light of the body, don't you see, then everything in you is illumined, your name and everything else. I personally think that this is the most amazing thing, that is to him that overcometh. Now, Jesus said, be of good cheer, I have overcome the world. So, friends, it's possible to overcome the world. It's to overcome all the things you hear, to overcome all the prophecies that people make today about that which will be if. I wish that word if and that word but and death and sickness went right out of our vocabulary. That's what I wish. And I had an idea a little while ago, wouldn't that be wonderful if when the new generation's coming up, they said, why don't we look through the dictionary and knock out a few names, a few words, and every book that's got them in, let's destroy them, wouldn't have many left. And wouldn't that be wonderful? So that the children being born into the next generation never heard the word sickness, never heard the word death, never heard the word if or the word but. Why? It would slowly not become a conscious thing at all. But life would be stressed. Life. We could do it. We could do it. If only we would start now. Jesus proved there is no death. He proved that sickness had no power over man. He proved that nothing had power over man if he came back as a Son of God and had dominion. He proved it in his own life. And if we can't do it, if there's no possible way of man ever doing it, I see no point in trying. I see no point in me ever thinking that it's possible for Christ to live in me and become what he is in Jesus. So our hope lies in this, that we can be like him as we let him come in. It doth not yet appear what we shall be. But when he shall appear, we shall be like him, for we shall see him face to face. Now, I used to wonder also when I was young in the Christian faith, oh, my life was so full of questions. I used to think now, just because he's going to appear, and I was taught he would come on a cloud, and I didn't know why he wanted to come on a cloud. Why couldn't he come anyway without using a cloud? I was like that. That's how I've always been. And I couldn't see how I could change because he appeared outside. I couldn't see how I could be like him because he would appear, that I could do anything I liked up to the moment he would appear, and then I should be like him. That when he shall appear, I will be like him. So I said, Lord, that's too easy. That's far too easy, because we could all mess around as long as we like, because when he came, we were going to be like him. And I knew that wasn't what he meant. And I went into deep, deep thinking about that and praying. And one day he said, when I shall appear in your deeds, when I shall appear in the things you think and say, when there is not a flaw in anything that you do because it'll be me doing it, then when I shall appear, you will be like me. Oh, it swept over my soul. It swept over me. And I thought, well, if everybody did that, of course I'll see him face to face. I shall see him everywhere. Are we not the church? Are we not the bride? Is he not the bridegroom? Do we not all together as one body in him become his bride? Then will not the whole bride have the picture of the bridegroom in their soul? And don't you see that if you're constantly looking at the picture of the bridegroom, you become like him? I know that there's something for every one of us to find out in this Word of God that so far still we perhaps haven't found, because the depth of it is beyond our human grasping. And so by the Spirit alone can we search and say, what does this mean, Lord? And I haven't much time in the last 10 years anyway to read anything else, because I once read this Bible and now I want to read it. Once I saw all sorts of things in it, and now I want to find the rest. And as I grow in understanding, I keep finding it means something deeper and deeper and deeper. For if my ear is getting clearer, I shall hear clearer. And if my single eye is bright, I shall see clearer. And I must not expect those whose ears are not open and eyes are not open to understand me. I cannot expect them to. And in fact, if I got upset because they didn't, I'm just about down in grade 1. I cannot expect it. Your child in grade 8 doesn't laugh at the little one in grade 1 because he doesn't know any more than what is taught in grade 1. Because he knows he was once in grade 1. And you'll never reach grade 8 until you go through grade 1. And I believe this spiritual life is step by step. I think that's why I've enjoyed everything that Billy has said, because he's taken us step by step. And you know, a whole lifetime experiencing going step by step, pretty difficult to put into an hour's talk. It really is. Because by the time you're pondering over the one step, somebody's got into the 4th and you don't know how to jump over. So we take what we can and we digest it, we assimilate it into our soul, and we take that which we can. I think I told you the other night, my dad used to say when I said the sermons were so long, well, now listen till you hear one little thing that you can understand. And then you need to listen to any more. Just sit still in the pew and think about that one thing that you can understand. Wasn't he wise? And this is it. Take what you can and use it and prove it. And then you're ready for the next step. No man in this world can tell me that they're saved in this minute, and that's it. I'm saved. From what? From that moment? You're saved from the longing to be the reverse way. You are saved in that respect. But now is the accepted time. And now is the day of salvation. And it's always now. It's always now. The next minute coming along will be now in a minute. It'll soon be now. And you've only got now. You haven't got anything else but now. So now is the time for you to accept the truth and be saved from what you might be going to say in a minute's time. And as each minute comes, it is now. And this now is the accepted time. This is the day of your salvation. And this to me is the great grace of God. Oh, what grace. What grace. For if you're regretting what you did 1 minute ago, he says, behold, I have put that behind me, and I will remember that no more. Let's live in the now. For I am eternal. Every moment of this whole eternity, I am the same. I will never change. Just step into my eternity now and be what I want you to be now. Put those regrets behind you. Many people don't advance in spiritual understanding because they're always living with their regrets. And they'll say, I can't forgive myself. Well, if you can't, you are the most conceited, self-centered person I've ever met. Because God says, I have forgiven you. Jesus has redeemed you. And I will put it behind me and remember it no more. Then what on earth are you doing remembering it? It has to be wiped out too, and it's wiped out by you living in the complete reverse way. Return, repent, and get your salvation. And you can do it every day, and never, never go to sleep with something that you've left not put right. They accumulate, you know, and the tenderness of the moment when you might have said, I'm sorry, goes by. Put it straight as you go along. Anyway, it becomes a lot of fun. It used not to. It used to be as hard as could be. But it becomes a lot of fun. It really does. I get a real kick out of seeing myself putting some little thing right that years ago I'd have thought too trivial to bother with. No, it's all got to be put right. Every little thing as we go along. Why? Because if we don't feel his peace. Behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me. Won't you let me come? And this is that pleading, loving Lord, always inviting us. Sometimes I love to go right through all the things that he says when he's inviting. Come unto me, and I will give you rest. Cast your burden on me, for my yoke is easy, and my burden is light. You can't weigh light, you can't hold light. So obviously when you cast it on him, it's gone. Like, there isn't one. I once asked a minister what he thought that meant, and he said, well, cast your burden on me. He went through it. My burden is light. Well, it means it's not very heavy for him. Why? It isn't heavy at all with Jesus. He carried it and he set us free. And I'm sure he's not walking around by the right hand of the Father carrying my burdens. He set me free, but if I don't accept that gift, that's not his fault. Somebody said the other day, well, didn't he only redeem the people that lived then? Read the Bible. It's for you. He even prayed for me when he prayed that prayer before he went away. He said, I pray for these and I pray for all those who will hear the message through them. That was me. Jesus prayed for me 2,000 years ago. Isn't it marvelous? Isn't it wonderful? Is it? Yes. Why, it's the most wonderful thing in the world that Jesus Christ, Son of God, prayed for me and prayed for you 2,000 years ago. 2,000 years ago. And then he not only said, be of good cheer, I've overcome the world, but he says to you, to him that overcometh. And you know, friends, there's an awful lot to overcome in the churches. There's an awful lot to overcome in our own individual lives. We've got to search. Oh, search me, O God, and see if there be any wicked way in me. And lead me unto life everlasting. It isn't any use just gliding through and glossing over the little things that, well, it doesn't matter. It does matter. To him that overcometh, I will make a pillar in the temple of my God, and he shall go out from thence no more. No more. Oh, I just love that. I just love that. I like to think that there are some days when I can go to bed and I kind of feel I'm a pillar, even though I'm laying my head on the pillow. I like to think that I have become a pillar today. Oh, Lord, let me be a pillar tomorrow. Let me overcome with you. You have the victory, not me. Let me stay so close to you that whatever comes, I will be able to meet it with you. But you must do it with him, always with him. It's his victory, not yours. It's by the grace of God we ever get through anything. So we have been tasting the harmony of heaven. The harmony of heaven. That is the atmosphere of heaven. By the way, is there anybody here left from Denver City? Oh. Well, they would bear witness to this. I went down to their church and I think it was 2 days, was it? 2 days. And when I got there, they told me that they would like me to use as the theme, harmony. Well, I hadn't given that a thought, but God gave me such a beautiful analysis of that word harmony. And the talks lasted through till the end of the retreat about harmony. And I will just give it to you because I think one or two of you know it. I may have said it at another camp. But in any case, during this coming week, I want you to be able to spell that word harmony right through your being. Harmony is the atmosphere of heaven. That's wonderful, and it's true. But that knowledge is no good to you until you become aware of it. That's the A, H-A. Until you become aware of it. How do you become aware of the harmony of heaven? How? How do you become aware of the harmony of heaven? Yes, you are here, but how will you become aware of the harmony of heaven in any difficult situation? Create harmony. Where there is strife, create harmony. Where there is difficult situation, create harmony by the power of this indwelling spirit. For this spirit is of heaven. This spirit is of God, and this spirit is the atmosphere of harmony, and it's within you, and he wants to create that in this world as in heaven. So, you will not enjoy, nor will you even realize that the atmosphere of heaven is harmony unless you are aware of it, and we are made aware of it by creating it. Oh, we see it around us and we feel it here. But you could easily lose it if you don't start letting Him create it into every little detail of your daily life. Now, if you do that, if you become aware of the harmony of heaven, the harmony of the indwelling Spirit, oh, it kind of thrills you, doesn't it? Sort of flows all through you, harmony. Then you enter into restfulness. That's the R. You enter into restfulness. Because where there's harmony, there is rest. Where there is a harmonious atmosphere, you relax. Wherever there is harmony, you feel, oh, so wonderful. There isn't a discordant note because it's harmony. Harmony with the family. Harmony in everything. Harmony when you're rushing and tearing. I'm talking to myself now. Hurrying away there, losing the harmony of a quiet spirit. Better be late than lose your harmony. Yes, better be late. So, isn't it marvelous that we can get this restfulness? That's the R. Now, when you get the restfulness into your nature because this harmony is within you, it comes into manifestation. It's manifested in everything you do. The job you did yesterday that did not reveal harmony now manifests as harmony. The breakfast table's a good way to start. Getting up in the morning. The end of the day, you're tired. Everybody isn't fitting in with the mood you want them to be in. And then you turn around and fit in with their pattern. You've lost it. There's no manifestation of harmony. But it has to manifest for people to see you've got it. If it doesn't manifest, how are you ever going to prove that you ever believed that the atmosphere of heaven was harmony? So it has to manifest. And it will manifest. And the world will see the manifestation, just as I have never seen God. But I can see all around me the manifestation of Him. I can see the beauty of Him. I can see the inexhaustible ideas He had. I can see His mind as it worked out all the beauty for this world for man to live in, preparing it for man. I can see the manifestation of His great mind in the mechanism of my body. I can see this tremendous manifestation of His intelligence healing my body. I can see the manifestation of Him filling me with strength every day. Wherever I think about God, I see the manifestation of Him. And in this way, I know Him. This is how you know God, when you manifest His Spirit through all that you do. So, if you are aware of it, you get restfulness. When you're rested, you get the manifestation of it. And then there is orderliness in your life. Everything is orderly. You seem to meet the people you have to at the right time. You miss a bus because you had to see somebody on the next bus. Oh, it's the most amazing thing. You get delayed that you might be punctual. You're held back from that because you weren't meant to go there. You've got to go there. It's all so orderly. I wonder if I might just stop here and tell you how I began to practice that orderliness. And oh, it worked so rapidly that I didn't know I walked on air. It's keeping your mind on Him. It's keeping your mind on His harmony, on what He is. He is like a glorious symphony. And everything He does fits in and makes a glorious symphony. Well, it was in Cape Town, and I used to visit the hospitals a lot. That was part of the thing I did. And I used to always like to go with something in my hands for them, either a little book or a bunch of flowers. And well, on this occasion, I wanted very badly to take this dear soul some lovely red roses. Well, I didn't have any money to get the red roses. That was when I'd stepped out entirely on faith. And I didn't have any money for roses. And, well, I didn't know where I'd get them from anyway. So I left home, and all the way down to the town where I had to get a bus to go to the hospital, I kept saying, every rose in the universe is yours, Lord. Every rose. And I want a bunch of them now. And he had a right to take them from where he wanted because he made them. So the faith grew so and got so strong in me that I knew that I was walking down that Adderley Street of Cape Town. I knew before I got to the bus to get to that hospital, I didn't know how, but I'm going to get some roses. Now, I didn't think they would drop out of the sky. There isn't any magic with God. There is only law, and it's love. And when you believe in it and obey him, it works every time. So I was walking on and walking on, thrilled. And I thought, besides, nobody can fence in the perfume of a rose. If it hangs over the wall, it belongs to every passerby. Isn't that beautiful? And then suddenly I knew that every rose in the universe was mine, if you please. And I have a right to have a bunch right now. And so I was walking along there. I didn't see people. I was just thrilled with this way I was going to get these roses. And when I came to myself, I found I'd walked a whole block past the road where I had to turn to get the bus to the hospital. So I thought, oh, well, never mind. I'll go a little further and turn around that next street. It's only a matter of walking up. So I lost my vision, but I was all right. I was going to get them. And as I passed, there were two shops. The second was a florist shop. And I heard a bang, bang, bang on the window. And I went in, and the manageress said, oh, what an answer to prayer. She said, do you know we've got a lady in here crying because she's just lost her husband, and she's come in to order some flowers, and I can't comfort her. And I just said, oh, God, if our Gertrude would walk in here and open my eyes, you're outside the window. And I thought, well, that's funny. I just asked him for something, and here somebody else was praying for something else. So in I went, and she said, come and talk to her. So I went into the little inner place at the back, and I comforted her a little bit. And I said, you know, I live so-and-so. If you'd like to come and see me when this is over, can I tell you a little bit about there is no death? There isn't much time now, I know, and nor for me. I've got to get a bus. But you come. She said she would. I walked out of the little room, and here stands the manageress with a great big bunch of red roses. And she said, oh, my dear, please take these. I don't know what to do. That was such a glorious answer to prayer. I said, wasn't it? Oh, my. Oh, did you ever see anything like it? Now, look what he did. Look what he did. This is the main point. He took me right out of my way, made me go past where I should have walked, kept my eyes fixed on him so I didn't see the road. This is it, friends. Take your eyes off the road. Keep your eyes on him. Take your eyes off the fact that you've gone too far. Just keep going. Just keep going. And I have proved this thousands of times in my work in South Africa till the people began to think it was, well, just every day happening. Every day happening. Shall I tell you one more? Well, as I say, I always like to take something if I go to visit somebody sick. And there was a dear old lady sitting in a wheelchair, had been in it for years, and she was dead scared of the Bible. She only saw punishment, damnation, hellfire. That poor soul was going to have some eternity. That's what she believed. And she was sitting in the chair, and she said, oh, I am frightened of the Bible, and yet now I'm so old, I ought to be reading it. I said, that's true. Why don't you let me read you some? So every week I used to go to her and read her all about the love. Read to her all about that when we're fixed on Jesus, our minds are fixed on him, we can't have it fixed on hell. I can't possibly think of my Father embracing me and loving me and at the same time think I'm in a fire burning. Because the burning of the result of wrong thinking is a pretty big fire. And the sorrow of having made a mistake and turned away from the Lord is a pretty big fire. And as long as you don't attempt to come out of it, it goes on burning. And I couldn't bear to think this dear old lady was going to go through that in her mind right up to the time God called her home. So we used to have these lovely weeks, and every week I took her some little thing. And this particular day, she said, next time you come, could you bring me some eggs? I can't buy eggs. I can't afford them, and I love eggs. Oh, yes, I said, I'll bring you a box full. I didn't know where I was going to get a box full from. Do you know, I hardly touched money in those years. I gave up all I had to do this to show the people that faith could work. And so I hardly ever touch money. It's a beautiful life when you don't touch much money. So I told her I'd take her a box of eggs. Well, it got to the next week when I was going, there was no eggs. And no money to get those eggs either. And I stood there in the hall, I remember, of my apartment. We say flat over there, like they do in England. We don't say apartment. Apartments are not very nice places to live in. So, they're sort of tenement houses. Well, anyway, I was in a flat. And I had to get a lift or elevator, as you say, to go down when I went out. And I stood in the hallway of this flat, and I was all ready to go, and I said, those eggs haven't come. I want to take eggs to her. And it was just as if the Lord said, well, do you suppose you'll get them standing still in this hall? I said, no, but they could arrive. See, they could arrive. He said, now, you just get going, because while you stand here, this is the only way you think I can give them to you, standing here in the hall. Now, you get going. So I went, and I pressed the button, and up came the lift. There were a lot of people in it, going to different places, and one of them said, oh, Gertrude, am I glad I've caught you, she said, because Mother sent you a box of eggs. Oh, I said, that's just in time. So she said, well, I'll wait, if you like, while you take them in. I said, they don't have to go in, they've got to go out. So I tell you, then she said, if you're going to give those away, Mother's going to be very hurt. I said, oh, well, you leave your mother to me. So I took the eggs to this dear lady. Now, friends, who takes them? Did God give them to her, or did I? You could trace it back to me wanting them and the girl bringing them and her mother giving them, and none of it's true. God gave it all. So, when I got home, you must finish your job. Don't start a job without going right through it. She was going home to tell her mother that I was taking them to somebody. Gave her mother the opportunity, of course, to say, well, shan't send her any more, that's for sure. I'm not going to collect my eggs for her to give away. That's some people's attitude. They give you something and keep watching you all your life to see if you're wearing it. So when I got home, I telephoned her. She was matron of a nursing home where I used to go and visit, and she had a lovely home there. So I said, matron, I want to thank you for the eggs. Oh, that's all right, my dear. I said, now, which would you rather do? That I kept those eggs and ate them all, or that it made some dear old lady so happy because she can't afford to buy eggs? All right, Gertrude, you gave them away. All right. So we got over that little barrier. And so this is the manifestation that brings orderliness in everything you do. Orderliness. And it doesn't look a bit orderly. It looks the biggest confusion you ever saw. And right in the middle, in the stillness, is, I am here. Lo, I am here. Are you there? And then you have to say, yes, Lord. He says, then go on, keep moving. Looks awful, but you have to move. Whatever he says you must do. And you come into the orderliness. Oh, isn't it beautiful? And then you come always then into the now of life. That's your end. You live in the now. You've got no fears of tomorrow. You've got no regrets about yesterday. You live in the eternal now. For the manifestations are coming in from every single angle of the kingdom of heaven because of the orderliness. You've entered into the orderliness of the kingdom of heaven, where all is harmony, blends. It's a beautiful symphony. Now we come to the why. What does that stand for? Complete yielding. Complete yielding. If you don't yield, none of it will happen. You have to yield your own confusion. You've got to yield your thinking. You've got to yield your speaking. You've got to yield your intellect. You've got to yield yourself. All of nature yields. The flowers yield to the bees. The little sapling growing up yields to the wind. Those trees are now yielding to the breeze. Everything in nature is yielding, all harmonizing, blending. Some colors you see in a flower bed you'd never mix in your clothes. Those strange colors that are put together, mix them in a flower bed and they all blend. Harmony of God blends. Everything God makes blends. The birds singing, the rippling of the water, the wind rustling in the leaves, the sunlight coming through the leaves. All of this is harmony, manifestation of God in orderliness, because they all yield. And the only part of God's creation that is in a mess is man. Man. Man who was given dominion over all of that. And now, instead of having dominion, he dominates. He dominates. And he's become cruel. And he does things that are trying to destroy the vehicles that should be expressing life. Oh, friends, it's so beautiful, and yet it is so serious that people who say they have the Spirit, people who feel that they've had the Spirit, can ever be the same again. And this is the harmony that you may have if only you will yield. Yield. Oh, it is a wonderful thing. Jesus said, oh, it was said of old time. It was said of old time. It was said of old time. But I say unto you, and friends, this is you, this is me. Yesterday, if you like, or a week ago, it was said of old time. But now I say unto you, you've got my Spirit. Now I say unto you, not an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, but resist not evil. And it was said of old time, thou shalt love thy friend and hate thy enemy. But I say unto you now, love thine enemy. Oh my, what a difference when the Spirit lives in us. And I say unto you, turn the left cheek also. I say unto you, love your enemies. And the whole world is making bombs. The whole world is making bombs. I say unto you, love your enemy. I say unto you, pray for your enemy. I say unto you, pray for those who despitefully use you. His teaching was about as opposite as we see manifested in the world today as anything we can think of. And this is why there is no harmony between the nations. This is why. I did a strange thing towards Christmas last year. I woke up and I said, breakfast time, I said to Harold, I've had the funniest dream. Somebody told me to write a letter to Mr. Khrushchev and send him my love. He said, well, knowing you, you'd better do it. And I said, I know, but the funny part is I can remember all that I was told to say. And I sealed the envelope and sent it. Well, he said, you better do it. I said, well, I think I will. And I wrote. Oh, I wish sometime I could meet him to see what he thought. I wrote like this. I said, dear Mr. Khrushchev, and I underlined all I said. I have proved there is a God. And I have proved that he lives in me. And I have proved that he has a still small voice. And I have proved that when I listen to it and obey, my life is all peace, all joy, all love. This same God is in you. For I'm sure you love somebody. This means then that you have God within you and his love. And if all our leaders would do, I didn't point out to him, if all our leaders would know this, then you would share all your ideas. You would cooperate with each other. You would want to meet with joy to learn about the things that you have found out for yourselves. And so I feel led to write and tell you that I love you. And I underlined that 3 times. And I said, and this love is the same love that is in you, God. And you know, when I posted that, we mailed that letter, we sent it through the American Embassy in Moscow. Do you know that I can't explain it, I felt so full of love. I felt as if all the Sermon on the Mount had been fulfilled in me at that minute. And then I knew that every minute of my life, if I could love those who were kind to me, no, those who weren't. How can you love somebody that isn't kind to you? You just understand why they did it. How do you understand how they did it, why they did it? Because you've done it too. And this brings you into an understanding of each other. I in you and you in me. Let us be one in Christ. He is our Savior, yours and mine. So, friends, we're going out together with a joyful spirit. And we're going to create all the harmony we can through the coming days. And we're going to link up with the symphony of heaven. And if, like some of those leaves full of holes, have been eaten by the bugs, do you know that the sunlight couldn't get through the holes unless there was a hole? Do you know that if the bugs hadn't made holes in those leaves, the sunlight couldn't come through them and make them look like beautiful lace? And I pray that every bug that eats at me and makes a hole, that Christ will pour the sunlight through and make me look like refined lace. So, friends, as you go out creating harmony this week and all through your lives now, as you go out, join in the symphony. It's everywhere. There are souls in every land in this big, big gathering. We're a mighty host. You and I are just a little few in the corner. They're all over the world. We're together in spirit, but not yet together so that we can see each other. But one day, that great host, that great army of witnesses shall put all darkness to flight. It'll go. But individually, you and I must let the darkness go out of our lives. And as it goes out of our lives, we're creating a great stir here of light. And the light goes out and splits the darkness in this home and that church and that office, splitting the darkness. Nobody can see it because the darkness comprehendeth it not. So in secret we send our light out. And someday we shall stand with no surprise to find that all darkness has become illusion. All darkness will become illusion because all men will be walking in the light. And all men will read in each other's eyes the light. And all men's voices will be lighted up with the light. And love shall reign supreme. And this is the picture you and I must hold on to. This is the vision that we must have. No other vision, no other picture. If you say, well, will these calamities come about? Well, all right, friend, what's after the calamity? What comes after a calamity in your life when you take it to God? Peace eternal. Live with the final. Live with the finished work. Choose what you want to be. Go ahead with Christ and do it and arrive. And arrive. And you will live in the joy. If you're making something, don't you think of the finished product? If I'm making a cake, I don't just when I put it in the oven think a couple of eggs and a little flour. I say a cake is coming out of the oven. You don't live with the ingredients, you live with the finished goods. And God is not living with the ingredients of his creation. He is living with the finished work. He's never changed his picture. His vision shall be as he made it in the beginning. It will be. The kingdom of heaven will be established on earth as in heaven. And we know it. And this is why we go out not on a sort of precarious job, not knowing if it'll ever really come to pass. We know in whom we have believed, and we are persuaded that he is able to keep that which we have committed unto him against that day.